All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to week 16 of the NFL. We have 3 weeks left until the playoffs. Forgive my hair. I look absolutely disheveled. Today's my first day off for my time off. Every year, my employer gives us the Christmas break off. It was a manufacturing place that I work for as part of the U.S. government, and they shut down at Christmas every year, and so I get at least 6 to 7 days off. I get from Christmas Eve to New Year's Day, but I'm taking a couple days this week. I'm taking Thursday and Friday, and I'm taking a couple days after the first of the year. So I'm going to get like a little over 2 weeks of time off, time to recharge, refresh, and bring you guys NFL content that let's put it mildly was not good last week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to what I was awful at last week, and then we're gonna do two things today. I'm gonna do my picks really fast for week 16. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on the analysis of those. I'm gonna try to go through it quickly. Then I want to go through playoff scenarios. We're gonna look at the ESPN prediction machine, and then we're gonna go to the New York Times. They've got a really cool tool that they're using. So this video is going to be split up into two parts. Well, it's going to be one long video, but I'll have chapter breaks down below. So if you're not interested in the picks, you're just interested in the playoff scenarios, skip ahead to the timestamp down in the description, and you can find what you're looking for. Okay, last week, guys, 16 games. My just straight up picks, I was 6-10. I was 5-11 against the spread. Okay, punt. Terrible week for me. Absolutely terrible week for me. My worst week of the season by far. So we're just going to light last week on fire and move forward. Okay. So tonight we have the kickoff for the Week 16 games. We have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Both of these teams are fighting for the playoff lives. The Saints, I think, actually have an easier path to the playoffs because their division is so weak and they can win the division, especially if Tampa Bay stumbles down the stretch. The Rams really can the Rams can only make it as a wild card, and they will probably, if they don't get the 7th spot, I think that's all that they're probably going to be eligible for. The NFC, well, there might be a couple teams there that have like an 9-8 record or something, maybe even 8-9 would possibly sneak in. This game, though, the Rams are playing much better right now than the Saints are. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with the Rams to win this game, and I'm going to take them also to cover the 4 points. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have not been good with picking the Bengals this year. Now, the simulations that ESPN ran, they ran on 10,000 simulations, and they published them this morning. And I read the article. They have the Bengals going 8-9. So their playoff simulations, or their predictive simulations, showed the Bengals are going to lose every single one of their games, including this game to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it is a pretty low line. It's 38.5 points. What this is telling us is that the Steelers are getting a lot of respect for their defense. What I'm going to do here, let's actually go over here and check out. Hang on, let's pull it up over here. Okay, so Hayward clears concussion protocol. Let's check out their other injuries. Kenny Pickett is still out, so they're going to go with Trubisky. Okay. All right. Well, that gives me some knowledge here of that gives me some insight into what my pick's going to be here. So I was going to actually go with the Bengals, but one of the things that Jake Browning has done is the last couple of weeks is he's carved up really poor defenses, and when he got pressed into service right after Burrow got hurt, he did struggle at first. when he was going up against some more stout defensive fronts. Obviously, Pittsburgh with Hayward and Watt. I think Watt. He's not gonna be an MVP finalist, but he's definitely up there for consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. The guy, T.J. Watt, is an absolute beast. And, man, I would love to have him on the Kansas City Chiefs. So that guy is an absolute game changer. And the Steelers are 7-7 because their defense has performed as well as it has. Their offense is terrible, even without Matt Canada as their offensive coordinator. I'm actually going to agree with ESPN's picks, and I'm going to pick the Steelers to pull the upset here and really kind of push the Bengals back down, fighting for their playoff lives. I think we're going to see Jake Browning kind of fold under pressure. I mean, if he really is a great NFL quarterback, I mean, he doesn't have the pedigree of it. He wasn't all that great in college playing for a top NFL or a top Division I program in Washington, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Steelers here to pull the upset at home. I am giving them a little bump playing at home. Next up on Saturday night. Oh, so that's a Saturday game. And then Saturday night we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Chargers. The Chargers have punted on this season. Obviously, they fired their head coach, Brandon Staley. Easton Stick is going to be their starting quarterback. Herbert is out for the season. This is not going to be a contest. The Bills are going to win this game, and they're going to probably win it by 35 points. And then everyone's going to say, oh, Bills, low-key, Super Bowl pick. I guarantee you after this week, the Bills will be number 1 or number 2 in a lot of people's predictions to make the Super Bowl, and they may not even still make the playoffs. But if they keep winning, they will definitely make the playoffs, because if they win out, they win their division. Well, not exactly. Miami has to lose. Well, they're going to play Miami, and then Miami has to lose one of their next 2 games, which is entirely possible. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, next on the list, we've got, and I've got the Bills covering the 12 points, which is a big number, but I think the Bills will, because the Chargers are just a complete shambles. Next up, we have the Colts going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Falcons are a team that's actually worse than their record indicates. Arthur Smith probably should be canned after this year. There's some people that are saying that he won't be. Look, the Falcons have too much talent on their roster to squander it away like they have. And I just don't understand it. Shane Steichen has gotten a lot more out of the Indianapolis Colts this year than I ever thought he could, especially with Anthony Richardson going down early in the season. I actually thought he was going to be the best young quarterback. He was definitely the one that excited me the most of the four big names that were coming out this year. And obviously he got hurt, and then they had to go to Gardner Minshew, who is a serviceable backup. He's not a franchise quarterback. I don't even think he's a starting quarterback myself, but he's doing enough to keep the Colts in games. And even though the Falcons are a 1-point favorite here, I'm going to go with the Colts to pull the quote-unquote upset on the road. Obviously, the FPI is almost heads up here. This is a coin flip game. So I think I'm going to go with the team that is playing better football and has, in my opinion, the better coach to win this game. Next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks going to Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. Sorry, man. My nose started running all of a sudden there. Seattle saved their season on Monday night with a win over the Eagles to pull to 7-7. Now they look like they potentially could get that last playoff spot in the NFC. Tennessee is, I don't know if they're technically eliminated yet, but they are all but eliminated from the playoff race. Will Levis is, sometimes some games he looks really great, some games he looks serviceable, some games he looks like a Pop Warner quarterback playing against NFL defenses. So in this, even though they are at home, I'm going to go with the Seahawks, who are favored in this game. I'm going to pick the Seahawks also to win, cover that 2.5 as well. Lions going into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Minnesota's going to start a new quarterback this week. Dobbs is going to be sat down, and I don't know the quarterback who they're going to start. So I don't think it really matters. The Lions, after a rough patch there, they've looked really good last week. I'm going to go with the Lions here to pull off to hold on. They're road favorites, and I'm going to pick them to win to cover that 3.5. That 3.5 number, that's a scary number for a game like this, especially a divisional game where sometimes the games are closer than sometimes the favorite would like. And sometimes it's a 3-point win, but I think the Lions win this game 28-21, something like that. Washington going to New Jersey take on the Jets. This is a game that I have zero interest in. I'm actually going to go with the Washington Commanders to pull the upset here. I think the Jets are completely. I have no faith in the Jets. They're a publicity stunt, is what they are. A matter of fact, the Jets should be just folded, and we should just get a new football team because the Jets will never win anything. They are the worst Super Bowl winning team of all time, by far. Green Bay Packers going on the road to face the Carolina Panthers. The Packers, since beating the Chiefs, when literally everything went their way, including the officiating and just some miraculous plays, the Packers have absolutely fallen on their face the last 2 weeks because they're not a very good football team. Let's just be honest. And the Chiefs never should have lost to them. They're going on the road to take on the Panthers. Jordan Love looks absolutely lost. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of getting all these Packers games wrong. I picked the Packers to go 13-4 this year. How wrong was I? I completely overestimated Jordan Love. This is not a good football team, and the Panthers are prime. They've been playing better defense of late. Their offense is still in shambles, but this is a game I think the Panthers can pull the upset here. I'm actually going to go with Carolina to beat the Packers and finally put them out of their misery. Losing here, I don't think will technically eliminate the Packers, but it will make everything a foregone conclusion. Cleveland in the Fighting Joe Flacco's going to Houston to take on the Texans. Stroud is still out, so they're still going to go with Davis Mills in this game. So because of that, like I said, I'm not spending a ton of time on these picks. I'm going to go with Cleveland to beat Houston. Even though Houston won last week without CJ Stroud, I really think that the Browns playing better football. Joe Flacco has kind of given them a little bit of energy. Even though he didn't play all that great last week, he did lead a game-winning drive down in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville going to Tampa, just right across the street pretty much, I think. Is Jacksonville close to Tampa? I have no idea. I've only been to Florida a couple times. Jacksonville has really fallen off. Trevor Lawrence has not played that great of football this year. And Baker Mayfield, after Tampa started out great, then they hit a rough patch, and now they've actually rallied and have won a couple games here. Tampa has actually kept games a lot closer. They're actually pretty decent. They're 9-5 against the spread, even though they're 7-7 overall. I'm going to go with Tampa here as the favorite, and also to cover that 1.5. I'm going to have Tampa taking out the Jaguars. I'm going to say it here. I think Jacksonville misses the playoffs. I think Jacksonville finishes 8-9, possibly maybe 9-8, but I think Jacksonville is not going to get to 10 wins, and I think they're going to lose that. I think they're going to lose the division to Indianapolis. So there's going to be some soul searching being going on down there in Duval County. Arizona going to Chicago to take on the Bears. Do I really have to pick this game? Okay. I'm going to pick the Bears, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals to keep it close. There we go. That's all the analysis I'm doing at that game. Miami is going to be hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Now, guys, this game has been talked about. Look at this, FPI 49.8. This is a coin flip. This is a pick'em. Okay. Miami is good at home. Dallas is not good on the road, and vice versa. Both these teams are home teams, and they are not good on the road. But also, both of these teams struggle against teams with winning records. They're both 10-4. Okay, something has to give this week. Who's going to get the win? Now, I personally think the Cowboys are a better overall team than the Dolphins, but the Cowboys have a mental block of playing on the road. They played a good game in Philadelphia on the road and lost, even though they should have won that game a couple months ago. The the Cowboys were really, really bad last week against the Bills. Now, I think there was one of those cases where it was kind of like, an avalanche of things going wrong against the Cowboys. They couldn't stop the run. Josh Allen didn't have to do anything last week. I think he threw 10 passes for 75 yards, and that was it. And they just ran the ball with their running backs and just completely just ran all over the Cowboys. Miami is not the same type of team, even though they like to run to set up the pass, kind of like San Francisco does. I don't think the Cowboys. I don't think their defense is going to let them down against the Dolphins like it did against the Bills. The Bills have a completely different style of offense. I think that can take advantage of kind of the smaller, quicker, more agile Cowboys. They really needed a different type of game plan or different style of player, which obviously they don't have right now. And I think they match up a lot better with the Dolphins. So because of that, I'm actually going to pick the Cowboys to pull off the upset. They're a 1 point dog here. So yeah, give me the Cowboys to pull off the upset over the Miami Dolphins. Sunday night, Christmas Eve night, while we are busy with family eating fondue and opening Christmas presents, the New England Patriots will be going to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. I think Denver's going to win this game. The Patriots are not good. I am going to pick the Patriots to keep it close because I'm not a fan, and I just have no belief in the Broncos offense to cover any type of spread more than 3 points. So I am going to pick the Patriots to against the spread. I'm going to take them in the points, but for the pick straight up, I'm going to take the Broncos. Chiefs and Raiders. Guys, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm always going to pick the Chiefs to win. 10 points is a lot of points, but the game is at home. It's on Christmas. It's on Christmas Day. It's a noon game. Good grief. A noon game on a Monday. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win by more than 10. Giants going up against the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles here to win. I'm going to pick the Giants to keep it close, though. I do think the Eagles get the win, but I think the Giants will keep it within 12 points, or within 13 points actually. And then probably the game of the week, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. 49ers right now playing the best football of anybody. Brock Purdy has basically thrust his way into the top of the MVP discussion, which is a whole nother discussion in and of itself. I'm not exactly of the same mind that Nick Wright has, who he is on this anti-Purdy crusade because he has all this talent around him. And now I do understand what Nick is saying about the MVP case, because when Purdy has not had his best players around him, he is 0-3, and he's looked really poor in those 3 games. So, but it's hard to penalize a guy like that. I do think the argument that if the 49 if you had to choose between losing McCaffrey or losing Purdy for the playoff run, who would you rather lose? I think they would I think most fans of the 49ers would choose Purdy. I think they'd roll the dice with Sam Darnold with all the other weapons as opposed to losing Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey goes down, I think that team is in real trouble. So fortunately, he's been able to avoid the injury bug that's plagued him in the past. So I am going to go with the 49ers to pull off, to get the win. I'm going to pick them to win by more than 5 points. I'm going to have to pick them to cover there. I'm going to have the Ravens fall to 11-4. So at the end of this week, the Ravens will be have a one game lead over the Chiefs, who will be tied with the Dolphins. So at the end of this week in the AFC. So, all right, guys, those are my picks. Again, let's go review them real quick. I'm gonna just straight up picks: Rams, Steelers, Bills, Colts, Seahawks, Lions, Commanders, Panthers, Browns, Bucks, Bears, Cowboys, Broncos, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers. Okay. All right, now let's switch over to not that. Let's go here. Okay. So right now, each team's path through the postseason. This is the New York Times interactive site. Now I haven't used this yet, so I'm not sure exactly if I can like pick games. No, I can't. So this is an interesting. So what this is showing us is like the Dolphins have a 99% chance to make the playoffs because they haven't technically made it yet, but they're definitely going to. The Ravens have already clinched. So the Bills actually now have a 71% chance to make it. But it's 3-2 in favor of the Dolphins to win the division. That's just because the Bills have to win out. But winning out and the Dolphins going 2-1, or 1-2, still is 3-2. I thought it would be a little higher than that, or I mean a little less of a chance for the Bills to do that. So there's a lot of people thinking that the Bills are going to do this, but at least according to strength of schedule and whatnot. Ravens, obviously, they've already clinched a spot, and they're pretty much a lock to win their division at this point. So the AFC South here with 3 teams at 8-6. Obviously, the Titans, I think, have already been eliminated. Titans have already been eliminated. So Jaguars still have the best chance. And even though I said I thought that maybe the Jags missed the playoffs, but if you look here at their playoff, their percent here, it's dipped this past week. So, and then you have the Colts, who they've still got a 20% chance to win the division. And then you've got the Texans, who I think the Texans, that's a pretty decent number to still make the playoffs here. I think the Texans have a little harder road here to hoe than I actually see the Colts actually winning out and finishing 11-6 and winning this division. The Chiefs have to win one more game to lock up the division, and honestly, they could actually lose out and still make the playoffs. So I ran a scenario like that last week. So it is possible for the Chiefs to lose all these 3 games and still make the playoffs. I don't see that happen. I see the Chiefs finishing 12-5. I think they have a pretty easy schedule, especially now with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow being out for the season. The Chiefs shouldn't have any problems winning these next 3 games, even though their offense has struggled a little bit. NFC East. So this is where it gets interesting, because right now the Cowboys and the Eagles are tied at 10-4, and as it stands right now, the Cowboys are actually the division leader because of tiebreakers. They have one more win in the division than the Eagles do. But if the Eagles win out, if they win their last 3 games, finish 13-4, and even if Dallas finishes 13-4, it's not going to matter, and the Eagles will win the division because it will come down to their conference records will be the same. It will come down to. Actually, wait a second. Here, let's go over here. Actually, there's no interactive here, so let's go to the playoff machine. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and pick some games here for week 6. Let's pick the games that we picked for week 16. I'm going to put my spreadsheet over here so I can see it. Okay, I picked the Rams. I picked the Steelers. I picked the the Bills. I picked the Browns. I picked Washington. I picked Seattle. I picked Indianapolis. I picked the Panthers. I picked the Lions. I picked the Buccaneers. I picked the Bears. I think. Did I pick It doesn't matter if I picked the Bears. I picked the Cowboys. I picked the Broncos. Picked the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the 49ers. Okay. So, if my picks hold true, which I was 6-10 last week, so take that with a grain of salt. So, if my picks hold true, this is what it will look like at the end of this week. Baltimore is the top seed. Chiefs are the 2. Miami's the 3. Chiefs with the tiebreaker because they beat Miami. and Indianapolis is the 4 at 9 and 6. Jacksonville in this scenario would drop to the 7th seed. Buffalo is the 6, and Cleveland would be the 5. In the NFC, San Francisco stays at number 1. Detroit actually would jump the Cowboys for the 2nd seed. Let's see if it. Let's see, 2nd seed. They win the tiebreaker. Dallas based on strength of victory. So everything is tied down to strength of victory. Let's open up the tie-breaking procedure to break a tie for the. Strength of victory is the 4th. So they would be tied head to head, which I don't think is applicable. They'd be tied within conference. They'd be tied on common games. So then it goes to strength of victory. Wow. So that's interesting. Okay, so we'll keep the tiebreakers up there. Okay, so Detroit would be 2, probably because they beat the Chiefs, and the Cowboys don't have a lot of top flight wins. Dallas is 3, Tampa at 8 and 7 at 4, and then we've got Philadelphia 11-4. Again, that's just for this week's tiebreaker, and then the Rams and the Seahawks finishing out. So 3 teams at 8 and 7, they're in the playoff mix. All right, let's go ahead and go to Week 17 now. If so, the Week 16 picks hold. Let's go ahead and go to Week 17, and let's pick these games and see where things fall out. Jets and the Browns. I'm going to pick the Browns to win this game. Lions and the Cowboys. Cowboys are at home. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win. Dolphins and Ravens. I'm actually going to go, let's see. I'm going to go with the Ravens to win there, to beat the Dolphins. Bills and Patriots, I'm going to go with the Bills to get the win there. Falcons and Bears, I'm going to go with the Bears at home. I'm going to go with the Colts at home over the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Jaguars over the Panthers. Texans over the Titans. Rams over the Giants. Eagles over the Cardinals. Saints over the Bucks. No, I'm sorry. Bucks over the Saints. 49ers over the Commanders. Seahawks win. Chiefs win. Broncos win. Vikings win. Okay, so going into the final week of the season, Baltimore is at 12-4, Chiefs at 11-5, and that's 2 seed, pretty much a lock there. So as you see here, both Dallas and Philadelphia won, but when we click on the tiebreakers here, come on, mouse, there we go. Philadelphia now wins the tiebreaker over Dallas based on strength of victory. Okay. And then Indianapolis gets the tiebreaker over Buffalo based on win percentage in conference games. And the Rams get the tiebreaker over Seattle based on head-to-head winning percentage. Okay, so that's what this would look like here. Jacksonville stays at the 7th seed. Miami drops to the 6th. Cleveland is still the 5th seed. Buffalo is the 4. Indianapolis rises up to the 3. Okay, Week 18. Seahawks Cardinals. Seahawks get the win to go to 10 and 7. Steelers going up against the Ravens. Do I want to give the Steelers a win just so I can put my Chiefs in the number 1 seed? No, again, I'm going with what's more likely. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to get the win there. Why is this not updating? This is weird. Tampa. Let's go with the Bengals to beat the Browns. Let's go with the Lions over the. Yeah, this is strange. Why is it? It's not updating. Packers, Colts, Chiefs, Broncos. Let's go with the Dolphins to win there. Let's go with the Patriots to get a win there. Let's go with the Saints over the Falcons. I'm going to go with the Giants to pull off the upset there at home over the Eagles, ruin their season. 49ers over the Rams. Going to go with the Titans to win. No, sorry, Jacksonville. Jacksonville to win there. And then Cowboys. Why is this not... It's not updating. It's saying... That's not right. They're not 12-5. I have them winning... They should be 13-4. There. This is... Tell you what. Let's... I wonder if it's because I've got this ad block. Let's pause the ad block for a second. Something is... Why is this thing... Okay. Okay, the whole thing is just completely borked now. I can't do anything. It's completely screwing up, which is making for an absolutely great video here. Here, let's try... What is the Microsoft? Is it... It's not Edge anymore, is it? It's... What's the Microsoft... I don't even know what the Microsoft browser is called anymore. I've probably passed it. Oh, it is called Edge. Okay, so apparently the playoff machine, let's just report a bug. It doesn't work on any browser. I don't understand. This thing worked it worked just a second ago, and then it started to go down. They must have done something to take this thing down. Well, that's a pain, or that's funny. So let's go back to... Let's see if we can NFL playoff What was this thing called? Playoff Machine ESPN broken? Excuse me. Let's go in the past hour. How about the past 24 hours? ESPN, not ERSPN. Doesn't say anything. There's nothing on here about this is from several days ago. Well, that's unfortunate because we were having a really good time picking games here. So let's go ahead and how about we just close out of everything. Let's try to reopen. Nope. Still problems. Let's go ahead and I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this stupid thing, but end of the day, we got almost all the way through it. I do think that the Ravens still have the best shot for the number one seed just because of they are 2 games up. But I do see it's very possible for them to lose 2 of their last 3 games, and I don't see the Chiefs losing any one of their 3 games. I do think the Dolphins will hold on and win their division over the Bills. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I think the Bills are going to be on the outside looking in. I just think the way it's going to fold out. I do think they get to 10-7, but I do see them losing to Miami there, and I think that's going to, and because of tiebreaker situations, that's going to hold the Bills out of the playoffs. So hopefully the NFL playoff machine predictions can get fixed, and maybe it's something. Maybe I need to do more than just clear my cache on my browser. Maybe there's some other stuff I need to do. But I mean, it was you saw me try 3 different browsers, and it was borked on all 3 of them. And it was almost in real time. I mean, it was working, but the weird thing is that I was picking games and it wasn't updating the standings like it says it was. And I had the Cowboys winning all 3 and it said they were 12-5 because I kept trying to change the picks to get it to force it to refresh, and then it just crapped out. So anyway, if you like this video, if you like my picks, which I don't know why you would like my picks because I was so bad at it last week, but hey, if you find this video entertaining, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for more content. I will be back on, I guess, the day after Christmas. I'll do a wrap up of this week. Probably try to get 2 videos out a week. And then when the playoffs hit, we're going to be doing lots of breakdown and analysis on all of the rounds, all of the games, just like I've done for the last 3 years. It's been a lot of fun, breaking down the playoff matchups the past 3 seasons. And hopefully it ends with my Chiefs getting back-to-back Super Bowl titles. Probably a long shot at this point. I think there's some others. The 49ers are a really good team, but I do see the Chiefs making it out of the AFC. Not just because I'm biased Chiefs fan. I think they have the experience, and I think in the long run, the experience is going to win out. The Chiefs have lost a lot of really close games this year. When I say a lot of really close games, they've been on the wrong side of the coin flip, not the literal coin flip, but and a lot of times those things even out over time, and it's getting to the point where the ball is going to bounce the Chiefs' way. They've been kind of hit with some unfortunate things that have happened with them, but I do see them finishing 12-5, similar to 2021. And the Chiefs should have been to the Super Bowl in 2021 and probably should have won it if they just would have kicked a field goal at the end of the first half against the Bengals. They would have won that game. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, again, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content, and I will talk to you later. See you guys.